You could say that the spiritual journey is a gradual relaxation into our natural state, into our true nature, a gradual relaxation into our authentic self. And often we'll express a need to feel safe in order to relax. We want to feel safe in our environment, safe in our relationships. So today we're going to explore feeling safe. And even as I say that, some of us may connect to our experience in this moment and notice that certain parts of the body feel relatively relaxed and at ease, whereas other parts might feel a little bit contracted. They don't feel safe enough to let go, to let their guard down, to let go of the contraction of protection. And this is all fine. This is the human condition. Certain parts of our being will feel relaxed, and certain parts will feel relatively more contracted and guarded. And yet we long for this state of relaxation, of ease, of simply being ourselves, of feeling at home. And in this moment, we can, in our own experience, reflect on perhaps a place or a person that brings you the closest to this state of safety and ease and relaxation. And that person may or may not be alive at this time. Just remembering a time in your life where you did feel safe, at ease, closer to yourself. This is just to really activate that feeling of safety that lives in our bones, in our muscles, in our nervous system, and reminding ourselves that it is accessible here. And so just this memory may bring forth that flavor of feeling safe and at home, and just letting yourself steep in that for a bit. And you may be noticing, as I am, that sometimes that particular situation or that person does, in fact, bring a sense of safety, but perhaps it comes to mind also there were times where you didn't feel as safe and relaxed. Only to really notice that it's not the external thing, it's not the external person that brings this sense of safety. They can remind you of what safety feels like, which of course is very enjoyable, but they are not the source of that safety. And so then what is it to feel safe? And how do we access that? We can notice that we are resting on this huge planet that is supporting us and inviting us into a deeper sense of relaxation. So just noticing where your body is touching the surface of the planet and the solidity that can be found there. And you may even notice as you allow yourself to attune to that connection between your body and the earth, you may even begin to notice this subtle invitation, like something whispering, "Relax, sweetheart, relax, I've got you." So the body is safe to rest here. And as you feel the breath pulsing within your body, how can we allow the breath to feel safe to be? Meaning, can we let go of controlling it? Can we just let it dance the dance that it does, breath to breath? And we can extend that awareness to the whole physical body as the lens of perception expands and we begin to notice the sensations beyond the breath. And is the body safe to be as it is? Is it possible that safety comes from acknowledgement, from a willingness to be open, to be gentle, to be curious, to be kind to our own inner experience so that we can feel safe in our own skin, where the various details and symptoms and sensations that arise aren't being evaluated. So the body is safe to be as it is. whether that's comfortable or uncomfortable. And oftentimes, when we sit in meditation, we become very hypervigilant about the mind. Can you let the mind do what it's doing, think what it's thinking, and just let it be itself? We don't have to put any particular value on the thoughts that are emanating. In fact, it's best to hold it all very, very lightly. Knowing that the mind is a generator of interpretation, which is very much programmed throughout our existence. And so we let the mind do what it does. We don't add more mental layers around making it wrong for what it's thinking. But it's all held much more lightly, much more spaciously. And we notice that the thoughts come and go. Sometimes a totally opposite thought will come the next moment. So when we give the mind this kind of space, we get to really understand its nature, and we get to experience for ourselves that it is full of contradictions. And so it's not a gauge for truth, but it was never meant to be a gauge for truth. And we get to know this by giving the mind space. And then we can also open to the subtler sensations in the body that we call emotions. Oh, are there any particular emotions or areas where you're holding stress in the body, or maybe energies that are activated today? And maybe those feelings at first glance make you feel unsafe. Like if fear shows up, you might feel unsafe, or sadness or anger. But the reason for the unsafety is not the emotion itself, it's all the judgment that we put on top of it. So, what if we gave the emotions a safe space to exist and to flow through just as they are? So safety might just be allowing our experience to be imperfect without judgment, without needing to change anything. With enough openness to allow the various details of our moment the right to exist. Because to do otherwise is an unwise use of our energy as we battle with reality. And yet all of these details, when we let them go, they do not define our moment. And in fact, the more we let them be as they are, the greater sense of safety we have within ourselves because there's not an internal battlefield going on. There's peace, a peace that surpasses understanding because it doesn't depend on the details of our moment to be any particular way. The beauty of this is that it's so empowering because we're not relying on somebody or something external to be a particular way to feel safe. We are safe with ourselves. And so for the remaining minutes of our time together, allow yourself to continue to stay open and to allow what comes to come, what goes to go, giving everything that arises a space to land and to be while it's here.